one.
They wanted me to do the intro for once. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I'm not good at talking. So you know what? I'm just going to talk about everything. And what we're going to do is a special show here for you today. We're going to do an extended ticker time because we are out of earnings season. So get those tickers in there early. We're going to talk Costco, and then we're going to talk your stock. So chat, get ready. Here we come. Mitch, roll that intro.
Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I'd buy that stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to this Wednesday's edition of Pre-Market Prep. We'll be bringing on Begole, a market reader at 8:35. Let's get to the futures. We got a rebound up 17 and a quarter handles at 43.32. Caught a bid right off that 6 p.m. open.
Chart me.
We tried to do something new.
Chart me.
All right, let me get the charts up here. Then we have the buck. Whoa, over 105, over 106, up 21 cents, 106.14. Bonds in the green by almost a point at 115 and 5, 30 seconds. Crude firmly back in the $90 handle, up a $1.46 at 91.85. Gold leaking towards 1900 at 1910.50. Silver trying to remain in the 23 handle, down 15 cents at 23.04. And Bitcoin just hanging out in the 26K handle, up $640 at 26,885. Now, I want to bring in Triple D here. And Triple D, very good intro there. I just want you to know that you're not receiving any extra pay for that, okay?
No.
That's
why I did it.
You did it.
All right.
It was good. It was good. I liked it. So
it was short and sweet. I was just trying to get there.
It's fun.
Get this party started.
It's hard to do, but
that's the first time I've ever done the intro. It's a lot of pressure, man. You know, you're like the person starting this up. People hear the intro, it's like, I'm not interested in this stuff, or I am interested in this stuff. There's pressure there, man. There's pressure. I felt the pressure.
Yeah. Okay. I know you're in one of your moods today, and I don't know what's instigating. I can just tell when we come out.
Usually, I'm getting my ass kicked in the market.
Yeah. Yep. But so what do you see? I mean, is this rebound mean anything to you?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I kind of thought we were going to rebound yesterday, and that was wrong. Couldn't be more wrong on that one yesterday. I mean, we're oversold. We've come down so far on so many stocks. Not Apple. Hate Apple. And that's probably where I went wrong, was thinking that the market could rebound without Apple. No, Apple started selling off, and that's what hammered the market. So as Apple goes, the market goes. We know that, the S&Ps. So, and I, here, you can't be bearish on Apple and bullish the market. There's a learning experience for you right there, because it just doesn't work. But I do think there's a lot of stocks that are really beat up. Get away from those mega cap tech stocks. There's a lot of stocks that are absolutely dirt cheap. And I mean, from a multiple basis, from a valuation, from just coming down significantly from off the highs. I mean, obviously the airlines, we've talked about those, but it's just a massacre. Most of the airlines are down 30, 40% in a month. Like, it's ugly. LUV from 39 to 26, AAL from 19 to 12. I mean, these are significant sell-offs here. And then you just go like a Wynn Resorts, 110 down to 90. This is a 20% sell-off in 2 months. I mean, there are multiple. This is not just cherry picking a couple of stocks. There are hundreds of stocks that look like this that are down 20, 30% in the last 2 months. So, I mean, if you wanted a bear market, you got it. We have had it for the last month and a half. We had the little relief rally at the end of August, and September was an epic disaster. So mega cap tech has not been hit. I do think it still has a reckoning day, and that's probably keeps the indices under pressure, at least the SPY under pressure. But there's little mini disasters everywhere here. Do we look? Do we come around and chat? This is why we want to do an extended ticker time with you guys here today. Talk about, do we want to look through the rubble and try to find some gems?
All right, let's bring in Mitch. Mitch is quietly there in the background, and we will still do our traditional stuff. We got to cover Costco earnings, right? Because
We will,
that's
yes.
like the only significant report out there. Traded down $9. Good morning, Mitch. And what do you have on the Costco report?
Costco wholesales Q4 EPS $4.86 beats the $4.79 estimate. Sales of 78.93 billion beat the 77.9 billion estimate. Net sales for 17 week were up 9.4%, and for 16 weeks of Q4, total revenue of 78.939 billion. The Costco wholesale executive said that traffic or shopping frequency was up 5.2% worldwide, 5%. Q4 average transaction, though, down 3.9% worldwide, down 4.5% in the US. This is due to weak big ticket discretionary demand, gas price deflation, and that was said on the conference call. So some good information said there if you're wondering why Costco got hit. Big things, big ticket discretionary demand, gas price. These things are definitely affecting.
The earnings were fine. Again, Costco gets hit because this thing we've been talking about for the last few days, they are coming for the leaders. Folks, don't think your stocks are safe because they're, Costco and everybody goes there. I believe they're going to continue to come for the leaders here. Costco's not sold off at all. It's near the highs. I think Walmart is next. I think they're going to eventually come for the leaders here. So this report was fine. Expectations are simply too high for Costco. I mean, this is one of the only stocks that has held on to all of its gains from June, July, and August. I mean, it's held on to all of them. We are 480, we're 560, we're basically up near the 3-month highs. There's no stocks that are up there anymore. And it's just like buyer exhaustion on anything like that. They're not looking to go buy highs on stocks right now because that hasn't been working. So here you come in, did they buy the dip on Costco? It was a fine report. The information, wasn't like, oh my gosh, it's going bad at Costco here. We better hit the stock. It's just buyer exhaustion in Costco. And I think it needs to come in a bit. Retail's been hammered and Costco and Walmart are just not even touched. So I think there needs to be some type of reversion to the mean on all of these stocks, meaning Costco, Walmart coming down, and maybe some of the other retail getting a little bit of a relief pop. Because you know what? At the end of the day, we can think, yeah, it's going to be Amazon, Costco, and Walmart. There's going to be other retailers. I'm not talking about Nordstrom. I'm not talking about Macy's, maybe. And Macy's down again here today. But there's going to be other retailers that survive. So I just don't think it's all going to be Costco, Walmart, and Amazon.
I'm going to say I got a couple technicals. One we talked about on the closing print, the 540 area. Just for the dip, at least off the earnings, you had a couple lows in that area at 839 or 539.18. So that's important for that to hold. And on the upside, can you see the bottom of yesterday's range? That's going to be pretty tough, I think, at 552. So we'll see if they buy it up, but that's formidable resistance. Fundamentally, think a couple things about Costco. Number one is you got to be a member. So they have the membership. So what that does is it generates some stable income unless they lose a lot of members. And second of all, it really I don't know what their theft is and how much stuff. First of all, it's hard to walk out, with a big thing of steaks or something like that. So, they probably have, less, shrinkage from stealing and
They
because
said
of
it's not an
So,
issue at all. On the
yeah.
conference call, they said it was not an issue at all. It's not up at all. I think it is harder to walk out into a Costco. I mean, it's a matter of, and this is a conversation with the Target here too, Mitch, which you can give that news too. Maybe you might as well give that right now. It's just another conversation here. Target's trading down here with Costco earnings, but it's official. They are closing some stores.
Yeah, Target shuttering 9 stores amid rising retail crime. And we also got news of this with Best Buy's earnings, right? They also said very similar to Costco. But what did they said? Well, one of the things that helps Best Buy and Costco and one exit. So of course there's emergency exits, right? But when you're going in and out of the store, you're going through that one entrance. And this is what actually hurts stores like Target, like Walmart, that have 9 different doors that you can go in and out of. So you can't just be checking everybody through that one exit. So that's what Best Buy mentioned on their earnings. Target shuttering 9 stores because of retail crime. Well, stores need to start adjusting how they're even built so they can consider retail crime. I think things like this is what we're going to start seeing.
I mean,
One
Target tried to address this though in their San Francisco stores. They put every single thing behind lock and key. So you go in there, and I don't know if you've seen these stores, but there's pictures of them on the internet, and you actually have to tell the clerk what you want, and then they go get it for you. Like labor intensive, just craziness. Like they've tried to address it. I mean, when you have this organized crime, they're coming in there, and it isn't. I forget what they said. It's to the tune of like, what was it, like $500 million worth of goods got stolen from their stores or something like that, something crazy. So like crazy amount of money getting stolen. And yeah, again, I think it just goes back to, you've got to punish people who steal. And we got to the point where they made it petty theft because people are starving, and and they got to, and I get that part of it, but the organized crime is taken over. This isn't somebody going and stealing a loaf of bread because they're hungry. This is organized crime stealing major stuff. So we've got to get a handle on this, folks. This is just not America. This should not be happening in North America. None of this stuff. And they've got to have to get stiffer punishments for crime. They've got to figure this out, or we're going to see more store closures.
A quick story on Costco. It's a true story. You know how, like, when you walk out of Costco, you're holding your receipt, right? And then they just cursory, they just kind of look at it, right? And they look at your cart, and then they check it off, right? And
Yeah.
I like to talk to people, that work at, the checkout, but just to get a feeling of things that are going on. I said, you really didn't look at that very closely. Like, how do you know I don't, I didn't, between the checkout line and something sticking in here? I go, do you really ever have people trying to rip off you, Costco? And he goes, yeah. And he told me a story where a guy came in and bought this huge TV. Okay. And he went to the line and he checked it out, and then he came back in the store and he got another TV, and then when he went through the line, he was holding his receipt over the check mark. So, so he just, like, he was holding on to it, and the guy that was checking it out, tried to grab it out of his hand, because he could see that, it had already been checked. And then the guy just ran out of the store, and I don't know if they ever caught him. And then just the other thing about Walmart, they're going to a lot of robo cashiers. They're getting rid of the labor. They're cutting costs, and I think that that's something that perhaps is helping Walmart. But Walmart just it's down a nickel on this. I mean,
No, it
that
doesn't
stock
go down.
look
It
at that.
doesn't go down. It's like Berkshire Hathaway. They just don't go down. But eventually I think there's a reckoning day for both of those stocks. Well, for Berk and because I just don't see how the market come in this much, and these stocks just don't go down.
One of the things, of course, is that when they check that receipt, Joel, a lot of them have this new technology where they can scan the receipt, and then when they scan the certain items, they have to scan a certain amount of items to make sure that the cart kind of checks out. It's a kind of a double checking method there. So it scans the receipt. It says, okay, it has 9 waters. And you start scanning the waters. If it doesn't scan 9 waters, you scan 11 of them, it's going to tell you that there's something wrong. Things like that. And of course, they also include a lot of this in the kind of, when you go to the membership, this is all part of kind of the rules to getting the membership. You have to go to the front. You have to present a receipt. Things like this are helping Costco. Let's get to cannabis news. Cannabis new bill on the floor. This it looks like we might be able to get this through. Of course, this is going through right now the Senate floor on Wednesday, but of course, it's going to have some tougher time if it's going to get through the House. So a lot of people are taking a look at this. This is getting cannabis to get a jump, but the only question is, will it actually go through? The Secure and Fair Enforcement Regulation Banking Act was introduced by a bipartisan group of senators last week. Of course, if passed, would secure greater financing and scale into the broader market. What do you guys think happens here?
This is been the trade to buy them ahead of these votes, and buy ahead of this, and then to sell on the news. It's just been the trade. I you know what I think about cannabis stocks. I'm not a fan at all. I've been absolutely correct on that for years, and I think any type of relief pop you get, doesn't last. With that being said, I think you can get a lift ahead of this news. I mean, you're seeing it here this morning, so there's money to be made trading ahead of these events. Just don't get stuck holding the bag in the stuff. I think investing in cannabis, and I know it's a lot of people, who still believe, but it's tough, man. They've been just killed, all these stocks, and it's hard to find the path to think that they're just all going to come back here. I mean, we heard about GRWG for a while there back in 2020, 2021. Stock went from $5 to $60. It's $2. We know what the Canadian ones are all an epic disaster. Can't be worse. Tilray, $300, $2. CGC, $60. Kramer always called it best of breed. It's 90 cents, worst of breed. It's just been a disaster. So you're going to have trouble getting me on board on the cannabis trade.
It seems like it's always like you're hearing the same thing about the legislation and the banking, and it just seems like this is just like regurgitation of like the same thing, and then it gets a pop, and then it comes back.
They don't live. They're short-lived pops.
Yep. I mean, I think they're still probably contending with a little bit of the black market out there, and there's just so many different stores and places to go. So
they're just contending with valuation, Joel. It was all a valuation thing. Like I said, the reason, and again, I go back to this, and I don't follow the U.S. ones because honestly, they just haven't been worth following. But I mean, what I was saying with when Tilray was Afria and they were giving it, this $10 billion valuation, you just got to use common sense sometimes and say, you got a greenhouse full of pot plants and you got a greenhouse full of tomato plants. The greenhouse full of tomato plants is worth 20 million. The greenhouse full of pot plants is worth 10 billion. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense at all. So now it's come back in. The tomato plant's still worth their money, and the pot plants come all the way back.
I should have called
it. That's common sense.
I would.
You know what? There's no argument to be made on it, Mitch, because I was absolutely correct. That's why
I would still pay for the pot plant over the tomato plant, but that's just my outlook.
Yeah, but you're going to pay that $10 billion valuation. What's the valuation? Let's go. What is the valuation until right now? Market cap. Benzinga
but
Pro.
You're talking about the Canadian ones, man. No one.
It's all the same story.
We've already come to the understanding that in Canada, they don't know how to handle their tomato plants. And I think that we've already come to that understanding. Canada is not the potheads, it seems like. It seems like those are all in the US.
There's a lot of potheads in Canada. There's a lot of potheads in Canada. Trudeau legalized it right away. Our biggest pothead might be our prime minister here, Mitch.
He likes tomatoes.
It's still worth 1.7 billion Tilray, which, in my opinion, is still worth way too much. What's CGC's market cap? These aren't billion-dollar companies. CGC is 696 million. So it's starting to come back in. You got multiple plants, and obviously there's.
I'll tell you the three that I'm looking at. How's that? They're OTC.
Give me some stocks. Give me some stocks.
Give me the stocks.
CRLBF, Cresco Labs.
When they have 5 ticker symbols, they're automatically
where they're on.
removed from my screen.
Give me that again.
CRL, B as in boy, and then F as in Frank.
Okay, I think I got it there. Oh, good supported too. That's
Fresco Labs is this company.
Okay.
So,
what do they do?
One of them. And so I'm looking at kind of the ones that actually touch the plant, but they're on the OTC market because of that. So I'm looking at these as the far out opportunities, right? I also like Cureleaf and Trueleaf. So Cureleaf is going to be CURLF.
I got that. Yep.
And then the last one that I'll give here is Trueleaf Cannabis, TCNNF.
Okay, I know those.
These two, especially the last two that I mentioned, have big exposure in Florida. And so I do have friends that have that medical license in Florida and tell me how the kind of the businesses are going. Trueleaf is definitely one of the best in quality. If you're looking for some better deals, Cureleaf has better deals in that sense. But in my outlook here, it's all about deschedulizing, because if we can't get them out scheduled one, this is never going to get to the investment opportunity.
I just think I heard all this stuff in Canada. And, again, Canada is not the U.S., but we're all North American. We're a lot more similar than you think we are. And it was all about buying these stocks ahead of legalization, buying these stocks ahead of it. And at the end, once they got legalized, that's when they really took the bath. Once we went full, and then once we started giving out all these contracts, because the problem was they only had like 27, licenses out there. Then they gave out licenses like they were candy, and hundreds of licenses, maybe even thousands of licenses. Everybody can grow pot. And then all the valuations came in, the competition came in. So I don't know if the same exact thing is going to happen in the US, but I do believe you'll eventually have, probably legalization in most of your states. I think it is going that way. But everybody thought that was going to be their gravy train in Canada, and it ended up being the train that run them over.
All right, I'm waiting to invest in the company that comes out with a marijuana laced or based tomato plant.
I don't even know. It's a bad joke if that was a joke. That's time to move on.
All right, let's get to our extended ticker time.
Oh,
You guys
ticker
know
time
what it
at
is.
8:22. Holy
Smash the
mackerel.
like. Dennis said, you know what? You guys are running the show today. So guess what? Start running the show, guys. What do you guys want to talk about? Is it Micron's earnings tonight? What are you guys looking at? Throw them up in the chat. We'll take a look at Micron to start it off. But of course, you guys start throwing up those tickers. We'll take a look at it. So, of course, Micron reporting earnings tonight. This is a stock that has been trying to get a lift. Just recently rejected that 70 kind of liftoff. Is this one more of a buy the dip or run away from these highs?
I don't want to hold anything into earnings, and I believe this earnings season, if we ended up doing the stats, if you were short every stock going into earnings season, I think you killed it. Meaning the stocks that bounced on their rallies, a lot of them gave it back, and the stocks that missed or went down just kept going down. So the play from the earnings season before was be long all the stocks in. The play in this earnings season would be short all of them into it. So no, is Micron get a lift? Is Micron? It's possible, but it just feels like all lifts are short-lived, and then if they get hit, they just don't bounce back quickly. So I'm not going long into the report. There is a trade to be long ahead of the report. I was already long ahead of the report. I've been trading it long ahead of the report, and that works well. But like I said before, it seems like Micron's is not my stock, so I should just limit my comments because I just don't do well in this stock.
This one is, I really like, sometimes I look at the charts and like, I don't have a good feel for that. This one I like the setup. They got the upgrade. I don't know what day it was, and I'm like, this thing's not getting through 72. And I don't know if it was actually this day that it went through 72. I think it was a few days prior. So that's a great number because it was your number at SEP and your number at the end of July. On the downside, how can you argue with a quad bottom? I mean, if you feel like you need to own something here, you're trading up 40 cents from it. That's a big level. That's for institutions or bigger players either trying to cover shorts or get long ahead of the report. So 68 and a half to 72. Those are the parameters for Micron.
All right. Now we got a ton of tickers to get in here in the chat.
They're excited
so
for ticker time.
Definitely. I'm seeing the tickers rolling, team. I'm going to try to keep these guys on a fast pace here. So I'll limit my conversation. Let's get it right now. We're starting it here. First one up, Josh Weber with MGM.
Ooh.
Is it over? Is the hacking over? That's the question here, because the stock has been punished severely for obviously the hacks that they've had. The stock has broken all trends. Technicals do not look good. Valuation isn't bad on this stock. So this one would be on my shopping list, MGM. So I kind of like the stock, but this hacking, I just don't know if it's over. We know we have rumors Caesars paid them off, and then, it's hurting business. This hacking is a serious issue for the casinos. If it's over, eventually there is going to be a buying opportunity. MGM, I would absolutely have it on my shopping list, but I'd just be cautious just jumping in. PE is still relatively high here too at 27, 28 times earnings. So I'd like it down the lower 30s. Let's bring that valuation in just a little bit more. But I do think there's going to be an opportunity eventually in MGM.
I haven't liked this sector even before the hacks.
The hacks are a serious problem.
Yeah. I mean, I never liked it before, and I don't like it now. The only thing I'll say, if you're taking a stab here, 3607 is the low of the move. If it takes that out, you got to reestablish at another level. Nothing on the monthlies.
Let's get to Boyle.
That's a natural gas ETF here. So, and it's just been, these things are uninvestable because they just get stuck with the rolling over all the time. They're trying to stay long and they get caught in the rolls. The high from 2022 on this is $2,500. It's $50. So, I mean, you've got to be very careful. These are trading vehicles only, not investing vehicles. You invest in these things, you're almost guaranteed to lose money in the long run because they're always caught with that rollover. They're buying they're selling the current, and then they're buying the next month out, and the rollover just kills them.
I'm just going to look at the natty gas chart, which is just messy as messy can
Yep.
be. Look at this natty gas chart. We're going to rally, we're going to break, we're going to rally, we're going to break, higher highs, lower lows. I'd say right now, trading range, maybe 280 to $3 if you're trading natty gas futures and just taking a stab in the dark here. If it doesn't even look like they want
Okay,
its
your
points.
30 seconds is up.
You went
Mitch
longer than
says
30
keep her
seconds.
fast. Let's go.
Ulta Beauty here. I know Joel has been
I
taking a
haven't looked
look
at
at
this for a long time.
EL
Joel,
and
start it.
ELF. So what do you think about Ulta?
It's a horrible looking chart. I got a 420 buy stop to go long. That's it.
EL, Ulta. EL is an epic disaster. I mean, we haven't looked at that one for a while, but look at this. It just goes down every day. It's one of those stocks that goes down every day, Ulta. And then you have Elf Beauty, which is just the exact opposite.
Yep.
So I don't know if Elf's just eating all their lunches or what it is here. But the other two are terrible. You think about the AutoZone, AAP, and O'Reilly. Elf's best of breed. The other ones, are in trouble. I don't know what's happening in this industry, but Elf is the only one that seems to be holding up.
Starbucks. Dun dun dun.
I never got $5 coffee. I still don't get in there. Probably $10 coffees now with inflation. So you're not going to get me to invest in Starbucks.
China. That's what I'll say about Starbucks. If
man,
demand can come back, maybe Starbucks can catch it here. Our demand slowing down. China's demand slowed down already. Will we see a downturn here?
I mean, I'm just not seeing any good support. I mean, if you want to take a stab on the low of the move, then you could do that. The monthlies are not supporting that. So, and you guys know I don't buy the $5 coffee. I get the 2 espressos, and then I ask for a little shot of coffee, and it costs me $2. So I
Joel
don't know.
finds a way around the $5 coffee.
Yes.
Can Disney hold 80 here, guys, or will it go towards the 50 that everybody was looking at me crazy 3 months ago because I mentioned it's heading to the next
50.
monthly.
Well, 50 is low, but it's on key support. It's been down here too long. The writers' strike has officially settled. Is it official here now, Mitch? The writers' strike is done?
Official, at least they were voted. It hasn't completely gone through, but at least the vote is now that at least is done. Real interesting news, at least in that aspect, is that AI will not be able to generate these scripts or movies, things like that. They kept AI out. They pushed it out. The writers did.
All the bull thesis was going to get a big pop when they settled this strike. There's no pop to be had whatsoever. The stock is sitting near the lows and doesn't care. They have problems everywhere. As much as I was bullish Disney 6 months ago, when the parks were firing on all cylinders, I think the parks are not firing on all cylinders anymore. I think the park attendance is going to actually be disappointing. And that's going to really hammer the stock if that happens. Stock has been down the lows for too long. I'll give you the major support. The 80 is major support, and it's still there. And it's still support until it's broken. I just feel like it's been down here too long. It's ready to break.
Mitch, I got a trade set up for you. Short 80, 87.50 stop, 65 target.
Ooh, I'm interested. I'll be watching that, guys. Keep look at the levels like always. Call your shots,
man. They got it.
I'll be watching it.
You think they were going to shake something up, and do something a little bit different? I thought they were selling ABC. They gotta come up with something new. 80 is support till it's breached. Yeah, I mean, it's just how can you do it? How can you go long here? If you do it with a tight stop.
All right, let's do Coca-Cola. Come on, David. Of course, that's not been doing well. We've been talking about that. That looks like the no Tina trade.
Yeah, exactly. All the consumer staples talking about Tina being dead. She is dead, meaning there is no alternative. There's all kinds of alternatives. And it's called cash. Cash, as long as we're up in a 5.5 and we got a 10-year at 4.5, there's no reason to own staples.
All right, same thing here, coming down on the low of the move. I think this is more like a trading, scalping stock. Look for the size in the book, fair value. trade ahead of it, right? I mean, eventually it's going to catch a little bid here somewhere. I don't know where that's going to be. Next monthly low is under $55 at 54.02.
Carvana. Dun dun dun.
It's come back down. I mean, this is, now almost like, a social media meme type stock here. They're getting behind it, the movement and stuff. A little bit of that happening here too, but you're breaking trend now. I still think Carvana has a lot of issues, so I don't think it's investable, and I think the trade has lost momentum. So at this point in time, I'm probably not. I do see the support you come into at 36 to 37. So if I was short, maybe I'd bring it in there, but not interested in going long.
Yeah, this 36.5 area. I mean, if you're playing this from the long side, then make sure that area holds. If you're looking at like a little buy on this thing, look left instead of look right instead of left. If you could get a couple more lows here, maybe step up and get a little bit of a bounce. But super extra major support 36.50 area.
I can at least say you're thinking about it. I'm thinking about it also. FDX.
Held up very well after the earnings. It does not want to give the earnings gap back. And there is separation. You know what? It's such an interesting market because we have so many relationship-based trades just falling apart where they hammer certain stocks and sectors and then they don't, and they keep other stocks elevated. Like the Walmart Target. I mean, holy, that is blown out. The FedEx UPS is another one we don't give enough love to, but this spread is just blowing out. FedEx, and maybe it's because the UPS just renegotiated their labor. Remember, they had the strike and they got a lot. And you think about the costs, 40, I think it was 40% increase over there too. And they just haven't been able to recover from it. So, I mean, UPS has continued to go down. You'd think at a certain point in time, UPS is going to be a buy, but I just don't know, man. It's been just keeps getting hit, and the spreads, you got to be careful as a pair trader out there because these relationships, some of them just continue to blow out.
I would love to see a spread. I thought to see how many standard deviations that is. I mean, only one thing to do with this FDX, and you got to hold this 259. That's been the earnings low gap. Buyers even stepping up to 260. So look at this trade both ways. Hold it as a long. If it breaks through there, maybe with the weak market. The other thing I would do, and I'd have to do some research, maybe someone knows, when does FDX have another contract negotiation coming up? Because I mean, they're not immune to having to renegotiate contracts.
I think so too. Like we just think, like you think it's same thing like Tesla versus the big three, FedEx versus UPS. I mean, they all got big rates of UPS. I think those FedEx drivers aren't thinking like, why I'm not getting that paid that. I don't know. I think there's an issue there too. It's a good point.
Yeah, they just renegotiated it in March with their pilots, but I have not heard anything with their drivers as of late. But that's their most recent labor deal. It was with their pilots, and that already happened in March. So that might have helped them that it was a little bit ahead of the UPS deal. AVGO mentioned in the chat.
Oh, it came down 800. I was looking at that. Someone was looking at it, asked me about it a while ago. You had all these lows. Nice bounce here. Hoping for a 50% retracement on this one. If you're bullish, 924 to 800. That's a big move, a couple 100-point move, but it looks good. You need a lead on that 3-day low.
It's holding up well. Do we get a shot if it really got ugly down at 700? That would be awesome. I don't know if you're going to get that shot, so I'm not sure if you take it earlier than that, but this stock just is consolidating here, I believe, to go lower.
So it looks like at least the chat's saying that FDX drivers are non-union. So it looks like only their pilots are union, and that deal has already been done. I think definitely you're going to see maybe FDX become best of breed here. And so I like that.
It is already.
Yeah, yeah. And just think about the market cap, right? UPS is 132, FedEx is 67. Will it make up some gain there?
Well, there's a point there too. Sometimes you got to look at market caps and not the stock price there. So it's a good point, Mitch.
Yeah, and something to think about. What about this one? Lithium name, LTHM.
Yeah, we got a little story on this one. The story is I was going to sell my whole position. And two people, no names mentioned, told me to hold a little piece.
Hodl.
Yeah. I wanted to sell the whole thing.
Ooh.
You know, why don't
Hodl.
you guys just take a break the rest of the day?
Do you
okay?
if you want
I-
if you misery loves company here, Joel, I'm in lithium too here, and it's an epic disaster. The lithium stocks are probably my worst investment so far. And again, it's probably because the automotive companies, are just having struggles, and they're
Yeah.
punishing lithium for it too. So I mean, ALB is trading at a P of I think 4. I mean, something's going to happen here. Obviously, these earnings are going to come way down here, but I've bought this multiple times here, and it's just been a disaster. LTHM has been a disaster. These are the worst stocks in my portfolio. These two stocks. So I think there's still a long-term play here, but man, the short term is full of pain.
I think I'm seeing on the monthly of Teslas. I think I might be seeing a Head and Shoulders on the monthly. Does that stand out to you guys on
There's
Tesla?
head and shoulders everywhere.
Do you see
on
that Head
all
and
these
Shoulders on the
stocks.
monthly, the bottom
all
right?
over the place. I see
So
them
that's that
everywhere.
recent spike, the 300, and then the spike on the left hand side
Oh,
would
yeah.
be also a 300 high.
Oh, yeah.
That's the left shoulder and right shoulder.
Oh, you're looking big time here, right?
Yeah, big time, big
Yeah.
time. Monthly, long term.
I'm with you though, Mitch.
That does not look good. So a big level for me is just watching to see if Tesla can get back to 300. If it can't, it could be heading back there towards 200. Who knows? That's an interesting chart for sure.
There's so many charts that look like this. That's what we've been talking about here. I mean, you could argue in the Qs overall here too, Joel. Bring that up, like QQQ, and you see
That's a
like on
red
the shorter
candle.
term.
That's a big
So not
red
not on the
candle.
top bottom
Right
right,
here.
but the top right, you can see the Head and Shoulders we're looking at there too.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, we've talked about and obviously Scott Redler, who's we've on the show from T3 Live, he was pointing out too. There's like Head and Shoulders all over the place. So I mean, and it is, we've seen this for the last week, and we've been talking about the technical patterns not being good for the markets here either. So the fundies, stocks too expensive. We've got economy teetering, and the technicals are breaking down. I mean, nothing rosy, and that's why it was such a wicked week for the stocks, and I mean nothing short of disastrous, really. S&P is down every single day for basically 9 straight days. So I mean, we went from 450 to 425. That's a quiet little 6% sell-off in overall stocks. I mean, the average person is worth 6% less today than they were if they're fully invested. The average person worth 6% less today than they were 10 days ago. That's significant.
All right, let's continue the conversation with our guest.
All right, we are joined by Webb Begole, co-founder and CTO over at MarketReader. Webb, how you doing today?
Hi, very good. Thanks for having me on. It's been a while.
Yeah, we're doing some major ticker time, and over there at MarketReader, that's what you guys do every single day, deciphering the information, getting out to traders and investors. So I asked you for a couple examples from yesterday. Obviously, not too much has hit the tape yet. Be interesting what you have to say about Costco. But let's talk about, I didn't see Siri. You met that Sirius satellite. You mentioned that
Yeah.
yesterday. Talk
Yeah.
about the news, talk about the setup and how MarketReader could have helped you navigate it.
Sure, absolutely. Can I present? Can I share my screen?
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Hit
Type
the
of
present
CTO.
button.
You might
You'll-
be the first CTO on this show ever. Chief Technical Officer.
There we go. There we go. Can you see that?
There you go. I got you, Webb. You're up.
Rock on. Okay, cool. So in this was yesterday in Siri, and I'm just bringing up a chart.
Nice.
So yesterday, we have. It looks very confusing. These are 10-minute bars. So this is an intraday. I'll talk about how we generally focus on the daily, but just to kind of point out what happened here yesterday at 7:10 a.m. we picked up the news about Liberty Media Corporation looking to buy Sirius XM, and I don't remember exactly all the details, but our system picked that up and started picking up the sensitivity and summarizing it there. So basically, we're looking at what's happening across news headlines, across social media, across articles being shared on the internet, also correlated moves, and trying to pick up that the stock is moving and explain why it's moving as quickly as possible and as completely as possible. And throughout the day, as there's updates, we will keep updating the story as more comes out. Another way to use it in a morning like this is kind of be like, okay, you were just going through a lot of tickers, a lot of charts. So, what are some charts I should look at this morning? Well, this is a great place to get some ideas going. We had one, so Costco, obviously, we had the summary about Costco earnings. We can see how it picked it up yesterday at 4:10. So the alert went out. We get news alerts in our system immediately with what happened, what did they report, what is being talked about across social media, events, etc., and a summary this morning about what's moving Costco this morning. Another example from this morning that's worth looking at is Nextera Energy Partners, which is down 12%. They came out with estimations their growth, forward-looking growth is not as strong as they initially anticipated, so it's moving down. And another way that we kind of are putting explanations on stock moves is that we're looking at what other stocks are moving that are correlated. So this stock, Clearway Energy, also down 6.5% this morning, and our system is attributing that to what Nextera Energy Partners came out with.
So how soon after you get the your AI or whatever you have doing this, like within how much after the Costco report do you get that disseminate that information?
So we try to give it a little bit of time because we are trying to collect all the information that we can and summarize that for you. So worst case, it's like 10 minutes, but at best case, it's shorter than that. And again, as soon as we'll alert as soon as we can, and then we'll keep updating as more information comes out. So on the Costco example, there was more chatter that came through social media about the discretionary purchases being lower than expected, yada yada. But overall, a good earnings report overall, but obviously still down. So it's generally 10 minutes or sooner. We're working on getting that even faster, but we need to go and collect that information that is out there in the ether, as it were.
Another example from yesterday, United Foods, bad earnings report, UFI. Talk about the news dissemination on that and how it could have helped investors.
So again, that's another one where we get the alert again 7:20 a.m. because we're watching the market from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. So again, just kind of giving you that alert that this was moving down on lower earnings, and again how we're collecting news, social media, and all that stuff to get you to be informed about what's going on. So it was down 9%. Right when the earnings came out, and by the end of the day, it was down 26%. So it continued to go down. These smaller stocks can move down a lot. So it's kind of giving you that alert is really the important thing. And then another thing that we can do, like with Costco, is again, you can see more summaries here on these cards. And this morning, these are all things that our system's picking up this morning. So since the previous close at 4 p.m. yesterday, things that are going on across the market, we have overall summaries, as well as the individual summaries from the news wires across the internet, social media, any events such as earnings or macro events. It's one thing that you can do. This is what I was going to say. One thing you can do is you can click on view industry peers and see what else is going on. As Dennis mentioned, Walmart not moving at all, so we have no explanations there. But you might see other stocks. Our system might attribute the Costco sympathies to it, et cetera. So it's a nice way to kind of explore what's going on in the market. We're working on ways to summarize the global macro view. So another way to start my morning is I go to this monitor, which is using all the ETFs to kind of get an overarching view of what's moving across the market. So I can see equities here on the right, including sectors, are generally green. They're colored by how unusual their move is. So palladium down 2% is an unusual move by this time of day. So that's highlighted in red over on the commodities on the far left. And again, you can kind of click on if we have an explanation. We don't have explanation for Palladium. For SPY, we have some summary explanations, but we're also working on broad macro summaries. So you can come in and read like a paragraph about what's going on, what's moving, what events have happened, how the market's responding.
Well, go back to that other page with all the news headlines, because this
Sure.
is such a nice summary of the day. I mean, this is what we kind of go through a little bit on Benzinga Pro. We give you the main headlines, but this is just like when you log in, you just see this in the morning. Like this is just
Exactly.
be like you go to this page, you can see everything that's, you know, really the story stocks of the day. Like this is
That's
like
right.
kind of the story stocks of the day, correct?
That's right. And it's not just in the morning, right? So every 10 minutes, the whole system is getting updated. We're looking at
Updated. So news
absolutely.
stories are hitting it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So
So
it's a
it's
nice
getting
app.
you a good feel for like what are the drivers here today. I always talk about, folks, this is such a nice tool here because I always talk about as a trader, the first thing I do in the morning is I wake up and then I'm like looking to the news to find out what the drivers are. So you have a tool here that summarizes all of that for you, which is really nice. I mean, the Benzinga Pro is obviously awesome because we can do that, the breaking, where you're waiting for it to hear a bit, but this is such a tool to use with your Benzinga Pro. You know, you want the headlines breaking, you can get them on the Pro, but now you have a tool that's summarizing basically the Pro. So I mean, it's a nice add-on feature here to, you know, to look at here too. So yeah, so I'd be interested in this. Is there a free trial for this web?
There is. So we're doing a 7-day free trial. If you go to marketreader.com, you can sign up and give us a go, and see how it works for you, how it can work into your trading workflow, and the way you like to work with stocks. And but yeah, like that for me, it's exactly as you described. It's a really good way to just see what's going on, see the narratives, and get an overarching update. We also have screeners, so you can kind of filter down to sectors or whatever you would like.
Nice.
Yeah.
As well as watch lists, so you can set up your watch list the way you like and get notified on alerts that are based on watch lists that you have set up. We'll isolate alerts to that.
Web, one more thing. How what are the hours that this operates? Is this operating around the clock, or is it just certain hours like 9 to 5 this is operating? What are the hours that this, you know, algorithm that you're using to compile all this information is operating?
For sure. So it's running it's really focused at this moment on US equities. So really the hours where you're going to see updates are between 4 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, okay. So you're covering the entire pre-market, the entire after hours too then.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's
So
good.
if something breaks at like even 6 p.m., the
Yeah.
alert will come up on MarketReader for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a good question in the chat. Is it 7 business days for the trial or just 7 days overall? Because someone's like, I'll try it on
They want
Monday,
the
or
extra
should I?
couple days on you.
Yeah, you know, they want the most of the trial, so at least they can get the most. So what would you say to that, Webb?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point that I've not thought of. It is 7 calendar days. I will look into seeing if I can do 7 business
Get
days.
you the business days. We want those extra 2 free days here, Webb. Come on.
Free
Chat
is
figures
free.
out. They listen to Joel how he
You
tries
know
to
it.
get the free coffee at Starbucks. So
All right. So one thing that
go
I
ahead,
wanted to
Mitch.
get to is you already just pointed to the relationships. I do love features like this because that's one thing that I think Dennis and I and Joel, we always stress about is understanding the relationships.
Yeah,
And for those
for
new
sure.
traders out there, programs like this can help you find those relationships that you might have not have thought of in the past. So I think that's one of the awesome features that you guys have. Another one that I really like is added social media.
That's right.
Even, and I think this is an important aspect when we're getting into today's world where Twitter does move stocks nowadays, right? Social media does move stocks. So tell us about how
Yes, it
it's
does.
able to do this.
That's right. So yes, I agree with you. Twitter can move stocks, but another aspect that's really powerful about Twitter is it's really great at helping you find out why a stock is moving, right? Like, so, you know, a big thing when you see a stock that's moving and you're like, what's driving it? What's happening? You know, you might go to Google, but really, if you go to Twitter and put in that hashtag, you're going to find out a lot. But the hard part, even in doing that, right, is filtering the stream. Like, because there's a lot of people just with rocket ship emojis or whatever, like not really giving you helpful information. So our system does a really fantastic job at filtering that the feed that's on social media, not just Twitter, other sources as well, you know, Reddit, etc., and filtering that down to really pick out like this is, you know, an explanation about like really why the stock is moving. It might be that Twitter was the source, a tweet was the source, but it might also just be, you know, this is about earnings. You know, a big aspect with the Costco earnings too, with the social media, was that as it was happening, we were picking up, and the summaries will change throughout the day, right, as we get more and more information. But if people are on social media talking about like, okay, it was good earnings and numbers wise, but on the conference call X, Y, and Z, and you might find that detail about like just why we might be selling off now, et cetera, et cetera. So as time has gone on, it doesn't seem like the social media summary here has that, but earlier it was picking that up, I promise.
Mitch, I've got a couple more for you. Just
Yeah.
well, first of all, the watch list thing I think is great. I think if you have a portfolio of stocks and you want to know what's going on with them, I think that's a great feature that people
Sure.
should definitely employ. If you want to know why your stocks are moving and what's going on, so help me out here. So when I'm going to give you two things. One's a little bit. When is this strike going to be settled? The UAW strike, and how would I like if I have a trading idea? Let's say I want to go long. All three of the companies as soon as one strike is settled in one place. Like how would I set this up? I just would do a watch list with those companies in it,
Sure.
or how would you capitalize on something if you have a trading idea and you want this to be your catalyst?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that would probably be the best way to go. Is like you set up a watch list. So you just
Okay.
go and under, let's see, create a new watch list. You just type in
Okay.
UAW stocks, and then you just put in, Ford, et cetera, et cetera. And
Okay.
you put a watch list, and then you'll get those notifications. So when those stocks are moving, because there's that headline or any other headline, then you're going to be notified, hey, things are happening now. And then another, aspect that you can do, if I were to put in like, Ford Motor Company, I can see not just industry peers, right? But I can also see correlated assets. So it'll tell me the correlation, which a stock may or may not be in the same sector or the same subsector, but it still might be correlated to Ford very heavily.
Nice.
So if one of those stocks moved already on the United Auto Workers, like the strike is over and it moved already, and you feel like you missed the move, you might look for the correlated assets and see which stocks haven't started really responding just yet. And our system is good for that. So as far as giving the traders tools, that we're trying to add all this. There's a lot more we have in the pipeline that's going to be added over time.
Web Begole, co-founder and CTO over at MarketReader, a markets intelligence company that helps individual investors make more informed decisions. Web, always great having you on. We'll dial you up again real soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Webb.
I can see Dennis. I can see the wheels going, Dennis. I can see the
No, I
wheels.
look like a nice tool. I mean, just because I'm a big time, and again, there's
Relationship.
so many traders out there that you'll listen to on social media and say, just look at the charts, you don't need any news. And those traders, if they're doing good, fine, but I'll tell you, it's more of a combination approach, using the technicals, using the news, using all the tools at your disposal. I mean, you're building a house. Why are you only going to use a hammer? So, I mean, this is just another
Simple as
tool
that.
in the toolbox. What's that?
It's as simple as that.
It is. I mean, there's so many tools. And like we try to say, why do I need a Benzinga Pro? I can just get this on social media. You know why you need a Benzinga Pro? Because
Yeah.
the social media has that thing like 5-10 minutes after the fact. After the fact. So you need tools. You need to spend money to make money. If you're in the trading business, you cannot expect to spend zero and make money. I buy tools. I build homes, as in I trade stocks. I need more than just a hammer. I can't
Yeah.
just go take the free stuff on the internet all the time. I tell you, if I was trading just off of social media, like just using Twitter, I almost guarantee you I would not make money. I almost guarantee you I would not make money. So, I mean, this is just another tool in your toolbox. I think having more tools is always a good thing. Try it out. Maybe you find a little bit more information, but knowing why stocks are moving is powerful, folks. They're not always just moving because of the technicals. They're moving because of news. News makes the technicals.
And I just wanted to be pure, transparent. We did not get paid to talk about that service. We are not getting paid on that. The key there is that we want to bring you guys tools that you guys can use that could actually benefit you, right? And I think
We've
that
known Webb a long
Dennis,
time too.
yeah,
He's a good guy.
Yeah, and I think that these are all great tools, right? I think that at the end of the day, you got to find what can benefit you as a trader, right? That's why I think it's also important to be with the right broker, right? There's going to be some brokers that are better for certain strategies than
sure.
others. And so you got to be trying to find what benefits your trading strategy and your time frame, right? There's certain traders that don't need direct market access. And then there's certain traders that it makes a huge difference on their results, right? So find what works best for you guys. Let's start wrapping it up. Let's also bring it back to a little bit of some ticker time. Any sectors or industries
Oh, you
that
know
you
what
guys are
stock I want to
watching?
talk about? I just want
Yeah.
to talk about Amazon here.
Okay.
That
Can you
is a big
can can you
yeah,
share
let
the
me
Amazon chart for me?
yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, whew, what this is a huge move in it, and I just want to, get you guys' thoughts on it. You've seen the news, right? I mean, yeah, FTC, monopoly
Yeah,
power. I mean, yada
yeah.
yada yada. I
We
mean,
hear
what?
this stuff.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, man, if you're coming into it, I think you're coming into an interesting area here. If I'm attempting a long or trying to cover a short, I mean, what do you think about this 124 and a half, 125 and a half area? That's a big move from Amazon down 20 points. So let you guys take a look at it.
I'm long Amazon through my wife's RSP account here. It's come down substantially. It is a big level. The valuation on this is cheaper than you guys think because you could just go and you just take it at face value. But we know that there are growing earnings here and they're starting to focus more on the bottom line. And, we used to pay 100 times, earnings for Amazon. Remember, it was like 110 and people don't
Yeah.
make sense. The 4P on this thing is 38 now. It's 38. So it has come down somewhat substantially. But I think some of those estimates too, like it's baked in that they're still growing, they're still doing stuff. They could make more money. When you start looking at it from revenue standpoint, I mean the revenue on this puppy, and obviously, the margins aren't as high as some companies here, but it's $134 billion in revenue. I mean, it's like, you're just looking here. Wait a second, that's not right. 134.3. That's I'm confused on the way that's set up there. But anyways, so it's significant. I mean, when you start looking at it, just from how much money this company brings in, how many things they're involved in. They're trying to get an AI. And to Gene Munster, who we've had on the show lots of times, making good points to CNBC the other night, saying, they are behind, on the AI race, but don't count Amazon out, is what he was saying. I mean,
How
they
you
got the power, they got the money, they got some smart people still working there. I know Jeff Bezos was smart as well, but I'm like, holy, we've come in a long ways here. Would Amazon be on my shopping list? Absolutely. Are
look at
we
all
at
the
the point where we want to catch a falling knife? I'm not sure.
Dennis, look at all the stars I put at 126.
Yeah, holy. You did that before, like earlier,
No, I
back
did.
in the day?
I
You
just
just
did
did it
that
now.
now.
It's a big
Yeah.
level.
3 monthly lows. I mean, what more could you be asking for? Both ways to look at the trade. If it goes through 126 with a vengeance, then play it from the short side. But 125.92 your low in July, 26.41 in August, and we're almost at the end of September. 125.26. So there's a good level for you on Amazon. What else you got, Mitch? It's 8:59. Probably wrap things up here.
Yeah, we'll start wrapping up, guys. Final outlook of the market. The only thing I'd say on that Amazon chart that I see is a monthly prior support around the 144 area became resistance this time. So unless we can get through that on monthly charts, that's what I'd be watching longer term on Amazon. All right, let's get to the last wrap up. What are you thinking about this market, Dennis? What are you going to be watching today?
I think it's like guilty until proven innocent. So we're getting
Okay.
a bounce. We're oversold. We tried to bounce a little bit yesterday morning and it suckered me and I got stopped out on everything. So I thought, me and Joel kind of had our buying shoes on. We thought, maybe we can bounce here a little bit. And we bounced right off the open. So we opened and the stocks bounced. And then Apple just took over, and the Apple pressure was just too much for the market. And keep an eye on Apple. It is a leader right now. Apple chart is starting to break here right now. It's the issue. So you had a lot of their stocks beat up, but Apple is just so big and powerful in this overall market. The head and shoulders. You want to talk about head and shoulders. Head and shoulders really ugly in Apple. I think Apple's going a hell of a lot lower, which makes it tough to get bullish the market. I think you could see separation though. We actually see some stocks, not going down because they've just, seller exhaustion, even if Apple does fade. But it's hard to get bullish the overall market when I'm so bearish Apple. And I am bearish Apple, and I do think it's going to 160 sooner than later. And I think it could even go lower than that. So, but I've been wrong, on it. It's coming down now. So I just don't like anything about Apple, and that makes it tough for me to chase the market here.
I'm just going to go big picture here. Just the S&Ps, how I like to keep an eye on like the early action, the pre-market action. I think the bulls got a big task, not a big task, but they get this thing over that pre-market high of 36.50. Then I think the complexion of the market changes instead of, just laying bids out there and getting popped. I think you see a rally, but you got to clear that pre-market high first at 36.50. Fun show today, guys. We know what to do when there's no news. We go to the chat. Everyone, have a great day.
All right, guys, I'm going to get you over to the Cannabis Capital Conference. If you guys want to check this out, I want you guys to have the opportunity here to check out, of course, our Cannabis Capital Conference that's going to be on today. Don't miss it. It will not be just here on our YouTube. So if you want to see it, you got to go to this link. Don't miss out what's going on in the cannabis stocks. Hit that link and sign up today. Now to bring you guys over to live trading, that's coming up next. Don't go anywhere as Ryan and I get into this market and go to battle. You guys see it out there. Of course, I will let you guys know what swing trades I'm in, what trades I take today, and we'll find out, right? Will we get continued downside action? Will we get a bounce? PCE coming in on Friday, something definitely to keep an eye out for. And Jerome Powell speaking tomorrow. So there's going to be some fireworks, of course, later in the week. We'll find out what happens. Jerome Powell Thursday, PCE Friday. Find out everything right here. Only, of course, on Pre-Market Prep. I'll see you guys over on live trading starting now.